Welcome to Own It, the podcast where we talk to real estate thought leaders about embracing your strengths, taking your career to new heights, and owning your future. I'm Hillary Saunders, joined by my illustrious co-host, Spencer Kroll. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Hillary. Good to see you. I'm very excited for today's podcast.
Me too. I was going to use kind-hearted and whimsical, but those are adjectives that I attribute to Cynthia Cummins, who is our guest today, the founder of Kindred Homes in San Francisco. And she is one of the most unique, in a good way, agents that I have had the pleasure of working with, and I continue to work with. She is a prolific writer, book author to be, the mastermind behind some really, really cool real estate therapy themed mindfulness workshops and guidance. So I don't want to drag out the lead in. I just want to bring you on. Cynthia, welcome to Own It.
Well, thank you, Hillary, for that introduction. I love being called a mastermind. And it's nice to be here with you, Spencer.
So like you have this really intense side and this really Zen side. And I want to go into that a little bit.
Well, I'm a master of nothing, I guess. I walk in many different worlds, and my astrological sign is Gemini, which is about duplicitousness at its worst and multifacetedness. So I'm really good at a lot of things, and I'm not expert at any.
Well, this I think segues really well into a couple of different philosophies that you have. We'll get into the real estate therapy in a minute, but when we were kind of leading up to this, we were talking about your view on helping buyer and sellers with regards to, it's not a house, it's a home. Like there's more to just a simple transaction. And I'd love for you to kind of dive into that and explain it, because when you said it to me the first time, it was like an aha moment for me, just because the way you articulated was so unique. So if you don't mind sharing, that would be wonderful.
So here's my whimsical side, or I would say my don't give a shit side, who will let just about anything come out of her mouth. I think I said that the last thing I do is sell houses, that I don't sell houses. And I didn't get that right away, but as a new agent, I knew that I couldn't sell anything because I just didn't have the moxie and the courage. I couldn't sell Girl Scout cookies when I was 9, right? I'd put on my uniform and walk down the street with my cookie sheet and go door to door. And I sold one box the whole time. So I knew I couldn't sell. And I quickly began to understand that what real estate was really about was home in its biggest sense, that it's about, and I don't even mean home like sitting around the fireplace eating popcorn or something. I mean home in ourselves. Home tends to be the manifestation of what we want to be in the world. And when we're on a search for a home, or we're making a transition, selling a home, we're thinking about what we want our lives to look like, what we want our lives to feel like. And that's what's really going on. That hopefully through this vehicle of real estate, buying or selling a house, we're going to get to some place that feels like we are ourselves and we're at home and at peace with ourselves. And so I very quickly found that the key to my success was to just hold that as an idea. Nobody else had to believe it.
Do you find that people gravitate to you, or do you find that you go out and find those people?
On a very basic level, I'm so busy with other things that I'm really lazy about going out and getting business. So if I don't resonate with somebody, if they don't get me, then I'm not wasting my time, right? Because if they're just thinking, I want some hotshot agent and she's gonna, she's got blah, 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 blah reviews, and she's an expert in this neighborhood, whatever. they're not looking for me.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm a really good agent when it comes to helping sellers and buyers because I'm really looking out for them and their progress. And that involves telling them the truth at every point from the beginning to the end. And that may not be what people want to hear. They don't want to hear that.
That's a hard lesson to come to internally, I think, on the path of an agent. And Danielle Legier said it also, that it takes years to come to that Zen space where you are very comfortable in your process and what you offer clients. And you only want to work with those who want what, the way that you are approaching this. Because now that you have me thinking, using the term sales agent is really just not accurate, because you are a life coach, you are a therapist, you are really looking at the client holistically and helping them along their life journey. So how did you get to that point from newish agent to getting to this point in your career where you're very definitive?
Well, as a new agent, I kept going to seminars and classes, and there'd be like, be sure that you close 3 times, and all these different tricks and tips. And like in the first interview, you're supposed to say something like, "Are you prepared to buy a house in the next 3 weeks?" Right? I could
I think
not
that was
do that.
Lauren Hines.
Is it? I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. So it kind of came out of me, my inability to adapt any of that, and then just trying to find my way. And my ex-husband, who went into the business just before I did, and who is today still a really good friend, and he was a sort of life mentor for me, said, just do a good job and watch out for your people. Just care about them and the money will follow. But somebody told me recently how a lot of agents think they're supposed to go out and, sell. And you can smell that. That's commission breath coming off of them, right?
Right.
People, and this is a real problem for new agents because they don't have enough of a track record. They don't have a deep book of business. They aren't experienced. So they're more likely to have commission breath than those of us who are a little more established. So it's tricky. It's really tricky at first to try and, in order to give good advice, to hold oneself back from saying the thing that's going to result in a sale.
I think, a lot of people try to be, especially newer agents, try to be all things to all people. They want to have the answer, and they're trying to fit this mold that they think the other person wants them to have, and especially with
Right.
these TV shows, right, we have right now,
Right.
$1 million, whatever. Like, you see these phone calls and you're like, yeah, that's not the way the business works. But a lot of people say that real estate is a lot like dating too, right? You have to find the right client, like the right match, to really have that. You seem really comfortable just being authentic, right? Like for you, it's just being your natural self. Always been that way?
Yeah, right from the beginning. As a teenager, I was always no. I'm being sarcastic. We were talking about sarcasm earlier.
Yeah.
No, that was a long road to.
Yeah.
I guess there have been so many times as an agent, especially in the first 15 years, let's say, because I've been doing this more than 30 years. When it was kind of like dating, like there'd be an initial match, maybe online. And then actually online didn't exist back then, but there'd be an initial meeting or a spark. Then I'd get myself all gussied up. I would try to, wear the fragrance and have I'd do a lot of grooming and to be sure that I was ready for my big date. And then, I knew somewhere deep in my gut that it was not going to ever work. That not only was it not going to work? But I didn't even like this person, and they didn't like me. And yet I would put myself out there, and I just laid myself flat on the ground so many times for people who then walked right over me and said, something nasty.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
they,
but I think there's so much freedom and so much agency, just to use that term, for yourself to be able to recognize that I mean, when you said I didn't like this person, at first I thought you were talking about you didn't like yourself in that role, and maybe you were talking about you didn't like the client, but
yeah.
you must have felt, I mean, I've tried to do that, and you feel incredibly uncomfortable. You feel so fake. So
Yeah.
what turned the corner for you?
Well, I started, I mean, at the same time, I was doing a lot of personal work to try and come back to who I was authentically, because I felt like an imposter in so many ways in my life. So I didn't need to be doing it in my job. So I began to try to show up authentically. It's who I was. But what had to go along with that, and this is to you said something earlier, Hillary, about this. I had to kind of detach a little bit from the outcome. I had to detach from what people thought of me, and I just know that I'm not for everybody. But then there is a little bit of this fake it till you make it thing, like, and I am very interested in people, so I kind of want to know, what do they love, what makes them tick, why do they feel this way, and often what ends up happening is that curiosity and interest in a person leads to a very deep friendship as well as a great professional relationship, because I'm really striving to get people. And this brings up for me this thing that I kind of recently came to about the role of agent, which is nobody loves you like your real estate agent. I mean, it's really, at least for me, it's unconditional. I'm available 25/8. I don't say after an hour, hey, our time's up. Like house calls, right? Literally. I'm fascinated by the people I'm working for. Like, I really want to see them get that next job, meet that person that they've been longing to know, have those kids, realize their dream of climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, whatever it is. I'm fascinated by it in a way almost like a mother would be, but I'm not a mom. I'm a professional. So it's kind of a cool combination, I think.
That's very fascinating. I'm curious, now that you have your own company, how do you educate the agents that join your team, and how do you instill that career knowledge and learning to them so that way they can almost get to that point more quickly in their career? Or do you have them experience it and then teach them after the fact? What's your kind of perspective on coaching and bringing up the next generation under you?
Well, what they won't get from me is a lot of detailed coaching about how to be a real estate agent. It's more, and it would be interesting to ask them this, and I think I should ask them this. But first of all, I'm trying to model behavior, and I am simultaneously fascinated by them, and I want to support their progress. So I think the themes that keep coming up is be authentic, say no more often. If you're making a list of goals, let's be sure that you're crossing off a bunch of things from that list. Have a life outside of real estate.
Oh.
And I think for every agent at Kindred, I feel like anybody who finds them is so lucky to have found them. because they're exceptional human beings who really care and are really good at what they do. I mean, I think I have 6 or 7 agents. 3 of them are attorneys, for what that's worth. So they're no slouches. And, but people are so lucky to find them. And I keep trying to tell them that. And, even a new agent, a brand new agent, people are so lucky to get to work with them because they care, because they want to succeed.
I love, I mean, when you keep saying Kindred really does just match you so much. It's such a perfect name for you. You have 6 or 7 agents, you were saying. You were also saying earlier that you really weren't concerned. Well, you weren't concerned about the outcomes. You were saying like that kind of that kind of made you a different agent. Now you're running a business and you have to worry about the outcomes, right? Because you've set goals for yourself. How are you different as an agent, and how are you different as a manager / boss in that way?
Well, I'm not very pushy, as I said, and I'm not as a manager. I'm there to support and hopefully help people find their way, whatever their way is. So, for example, when we do goal setting, as far as I'm concerned, they can use any goal setting system they want, right? It could be a vision board. It could be a scribble on a Post-it note. They can do affirmations. They could say, I'm going to call 10 people a day and ask them for business. Whatever they want to do, they can present that any way they want. And then I just try to help them stay accountable. And I continually ask, is this something that you should be doing? Is this something that you want to do? Does it feel good to do this? Because let's say they set out a goal to call 20 people a day or to do 20 expired calls a day. That doesn't feel good. Guess what? You're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. And so for myself as an agent, so that's kind of my management philosophy, but for myself, it's the same thing. If I don't do anything that doesn't feel a little bit enjoyable. And so when it comes to like, how you're supposed to decide how much money you want to make this year. And then you look at your average sales price and you do some math and then you come up with how many transactions you have to do a year. I did that a couple times, but now it's like, whoop, forget it. I'm just going to do the things I enjoy, try to care about people, keep putting my message out there, and have faith. It's a lot easier.
I think with the underlying theme is that you really have to have honest passion and caring about what you do, and you enjoy it, which leads into something that I think is a project of yours that you've been doing for a while now, which is leading mindfulness workshops that apparently sell out in a hot second. So congratulations on those. What inspired you to start those? Because that's a whole nother avenue of attention that you have to give, energy you have to spend.
That's something so I used to write as a kid, as a teenager, and my degree is in journalism, print journalism. And I worked as a reporter and a freelance writer for a while. But that's a whole other thing. Anyway, I did some writing workshops with a woman named Lori Wagner, who has this website called 27 Powers. And she does this sort of stream of consciousness writing style where you just let spill onto the page whatever wants to be said. So she and a few other teachers inspired me to start writing again. And the writing that I was doing was just kind of sitting down, almost like meditating, with a blank piece of paper, maybe with a prompt, and just seeing what happened. So this is kind of like my agent philosophy. It's like, who cares what happens? Just do it, enjoy it, and let it rip, right? So after a while, I started volunteering at the San Francisco YMCA, leading others in this kind of work. And I built a following. And then pretty soon, now I do workshops at Green Gulch Farm, San Francisco Zen Center, Tassajara, in private settings. It's all, for me, it's so rewarding and it's so fun. And for the people who attend my workshops, it tends to be very opening and transformative. Like people discover things that they had to say that they didn't even know. And then it just comes out on the page without any effort. So it's fun. That's what I do with that.
It's so interesting that we talk to a lot of people, and some agents are really driven in a very particular way. They set a goal and they meet that goal and they up that goal every year. And usually it's a financial goal, not necessarily I'm going to talk to 10 people. And so many of them set limits. You were talking about being 25/8. And so many people, you say, well, you got to set the limit and you have to have the machine, the voicemail that says, after Friday, after 2 p.m., don't call me and I'll call you back Monday or whatever. And somebody said that. And you seem to kind of have this, and I want to get your opinion on the other version of that, the agents that want to do that. You seem to have this thing, and it's a mystery to me, okay? Because you're getting all this business, and I am not Zen, right? Hillary, would you say I'm Zen? Right. So, and sometimes I feel like I'm pushing.
Is very Zen.
Well, it's a Zen. I got this. I got it at a Zen center. But no, but the thing is, like I'm always like, so many agents are pushing this way, and you seem to kind of just I guess it's kung fu versus karate or something like that. What do you think of other people that have this approach? And do you see people? That's probably the longest question in the history of podcasts. But do you see people? Are you able to change people where they come in and they're like this, and then you start seeing that, and now they have success in business as well?
Well, first of all, I admire people who are driven that way, and I God knows I tried, but that's not me. And but I think that's definitely an approach that works, and it's what a lot of people need. They really need that. But for me, again, it's this not efforting when I don't think that I'm really interested in as much leverage as possible. And that way I'm pretty conservative. Like I want to get the most bang for my buck. And I definitely, now that I'm established, I shut down, there'll be an outgoing greeting that says, I'm not available for the next 24 hours. There's someone to call, right? But I definitely try to put up some boundaries here and there. And now I'm wandering off and forgetting what the crux. Oh, I know what it was. I'm not for everybody. I had an agent who was relatively new, and just an example would be sometimes I begin our team meetings with a 2 or 3 minute drop in to just breathe and get focused, just center. Well, I mean, I could kind of, everybody would close their eyes, but you're on Zoom, right? And I can peek, I can see what people are doing. And this one person would be there checking email, making notes, not dropping in. And they felt like that woo-woo shit was for the birds. What the hell am I doing here with this person who's making me do this, kumbaya stuff? And I do believe that they could have benefited from slowing down a little and getting centered and being a little more thoughtful or deliberate, but they weren't interested. And so I get it. That's fine. I was not the right person for that.
But it is really cool to think about. I've been digesting what you were saying as far as it's a it's almost like a relaxed feeling. I translate it to like competitive sports or when you race for something. The best outcome is always when it's not forced, when you're in a relaxed state and everything just seems to come naturally. And
Mm-hmm.
so from what I'm hearing is that your view is that there is plenty of business to go around. You need to find the right people that energize you and that you like to work with. And if you yourself are in that calm and open and inviting state, they will come. You will find them. It won't be forced. So I'm enjoying that point of view. I think it's wonderful.
Well, it is it is enjoyable, I have to say. I mean, what I really like are the people who sometimes there's people who are kind of a little bit resistant to me, right? And then, boy, I'm very wily that way, and I kind of, I court them. I do their dance, and I bring them in slowly so that I think the main thing is that because I'm somewhat detached and because I don't have an agenda except my clients' happiness, well being, and progress, that's it. And that may mean you shouldn't buy or you shouldn't buy. You should stay in your rent controlled apartment, right? Don't buy. Anyway, I'm
Yeah, go
not,
spend your money on an investment property in that
yeah,
situation.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Go live in Paris for 2 years. But
Yeah.
I'm not invested. And that means I'm trustworthy. And,
Mhm.
but some people come into the mix thinking that real estate agents are all real skanks and that I can't be trusted. So they've got their armor on, or they've been told by somebody that you have to go through this this checklist, to choose your agent. And then I'm just like, okay, next,
Right.
right? I'm not
Yeah.
interested.
Well, again, a lot like dating, right? The less interested you are, the more people are going to come up and go out with you.
How'd that work out for you, Spencer?
I got to tell you,
Let's
it was
not. Never
fantastic.
mind. Don't answer that question.
Hillary,
Don't answer. Let's move on.
we're gonna talk about 1997, my best year. But anyway, that said, I want to talk about your book and your general philosophy in real estate therapy.
Real estate therapy. So,
Yeah.
real estate therapy is a blog that I've had for about 12 or 14 years, where I'm talking about deeper meanings of home, or, there's a lot of humor, um, just my little quirky ideas about real estate and what real estate really is. There's advice for buyers, there's advice for sellers, there's advice for agents. And I've been fashioning that into a book that's kind of close to completion. But then I got sidetracked in my typical Gemini, I can do it all fashion. I mean, I'm really kind of I'm a slut, let's face it, when it comes to, projects that interest me. I'm like, okay, I'm going after that one. I decided I wanted to do a podcast, and that led to doing a YouTube channel. So that's real estate therapy. And it's the same thing. We're just talking about the lighter side of real estate or the deeper aspects of real estate, or anyway, it's a work in progress.
I love it. I think that's great. You're sharing what's so cool is that you're sharing your story of success in an unconventional, I would say, manner that can inspire and help other people who may be in the similar boat but haven't had anyone to look up to or to see that success is achievable by doing the business in a way that maybe is more natural for them, but doesn't jive with, the this book and that book and this, project. So I applaud you. I think it's wonderful. I do want to ask you about your expanding into Northern California, because that is not a easy feat to do. What led you to even go down that path, and how did you decide to get larger?
Well, that's funny that you asked that. Nobody's asked me about this yet. It's relatively new. But I bought a house in Weed, California about 3 years ago, in the just right near Mount Shasta. So if there's a volcanic eruption,
It's gone.
it's over for me. Anyway, I thought I'm going to represent myself by this house. I looked for a long time. I ended up making many offers on many houses, and I just kept getting. I couldn't quite figure it out because I thought I was a real hot shot from the city, right? Like I have my own company. I've been doing this forever. I know exactly what to do. I'm going to come in. I'm going to make a really strong offer. Like I'm going to blow all you other people out of the water. Well, let me tell you, it did not work. And so I found an agent who was a relatively young agent, in Siskiyou County, and he did a great job for me. He did a great job getting me into the house that I wanted. And I'm here to say, if you are not expert in a particular area, don't waste your time thinking that you're gonna save a little money. So he did a great job. And anyway, we stayed in touch, and he was unhappy at his current brokerage. And we were talking about him partnering with Side. Anyway, long story short, I said, well, why don't you just be part of Kindred SF Homes? So he and his business partner have their own sub brand, that's part of Kindred SF Homes, and they're going. It's crazy. They have all these listings, and they don't need much advice from me because I don't know what the hell I'm doing in Siskiyou County. Right? I'm just there with this big, bigger philosophical approach, and they even brought on a new associate already. So. It's that's the
awesome.
story.
But you're a mentor, whether you like it or not. You're in that spot. You may not know, what point of sale requirements are, but conceptually how to succeed in this wonderful business we've all chosen.
Yes, and what's great about them, they're the HD Mount Shasta Realty, I think, is that they know what they're doing. They're really good, sharp agents who have a lot of drive and a lot of care and really take their fiduciary obligations seriously. And all I have to provide is this mentoring. That's all. And but if they weren't already such a great team, it wouldn't work. So now I'm kind of thinking maybe there's some other teams like that out there.
Yes.
Well, the statement is your experience there, I think, is a great lesson for yourself because you were not authentic to yourself from everything that I've learned about you, right? You're out there being this hot shot, and that's not the way that you present yourself in your real estate career. So shame on you, first off. And I think that's a really good lesson. But how do these people align with you? Or I guess there's two questions. Sorry, it is going to be two questions. But the first one is, how are these people aligned with you temperament-wise, right? From that, I know that they're very good agents. And what is it that Kindred is offering them that they did want to step on board?
Well, they are very different from me in a way because they're first of all a lot younger, so they have a different approach to, and they had to start from the ground up, so they had to get leads, like use Zillow and get leads, but they have a much more up to the minute approach than a lot of their peers or other agents operating in the same market. But what I offer is the strength of Side, because Side gives them all the tech and education and everything, soup to nuts, that they weren't getting from their other brokerage. Just the other day, there was a little glitch in the onboarding, and I said, gosh, this must be so frustrating. And they're like, what? frustrating? We're so happy. Everything's going so smoothly. Our prior broker did nothing, none of this. Not only did they not do this, not only did they not provide this, we have to do it ourselves, and we have to pay for it. We have to pay an outside third party. So they're delighted with the suite of services that Side provides them, and it's very economical for them. They're getting a lot more reward for the work that they're doing, and I'm thrilled. I'm just thrilled for them.
That's great. I'm so happy that, you know, I'm positive there are more people that subscribe to your way of doing business that will be reaching out, if not partnering with you, because there is a welcoming place for them. And granted, it's not traditional, but you have smashed it out of the park. So, Cynthia, before we wrap up, I'd love to share what your next goals are. I don't want to give it away, but I know you want to end up somewhere in nature, spending your wonderful years out in nature, because I know it means a lot to you as much as it does to me. But what are your goals for Kindred and then yourself personally?
Well, my goals for Kindred is for it to sustain and to be a place that really feels like a welcoming, safe home for the agents who want to be there, and that it's rewarding and fulfilling for them. So I want to do the minimum that I need to do to continue to foster that. And I want to step more into a mentoring management role and not a lot of day-to-day ops myself. So that's my immediate goal, hopefully very soon, because my partner, the handyman, is waiting for me to go play. And that means a lot of hiking and a lot of swimming for me. Alpine touring is something that I've committed to really getting into when the snow comes around. So I'm going to be conditioning for that. And I already am buying some equipment. I recently went up on Mount Shasta on touring skis, and it was amazing. It was amazing. I can't wait to do it again. So there's going to be skiing, there's going to be travel, and there's going to be music. You know, I like to write songs and sing and play music. So writing, singing, playing, hiking, swimming, skiing, what else? You know, cooking, watching some Netflix, that kind of thing.
Sounds lovely. I'm inviting myself over. I don't have touring skis yet, but as soon as I get them, or if you come up to Central Oregon, we can go backcountry in the woods. Spencer, I don't know that he does backcountry, but it's all right.
I don't even do front. I don't even do front
going.
country. I don't even do front country, Hillary.
Front country. I love it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, so we can find your podcast, Real Estate Therapy.
Real Estate Therapy.
And the YouTube channel.
That's the name of the YouTube channel. The website is realestatetherapy.org. It's also available wherever you get your podcasts. And then you can also find me through kindredsfhomes.com.
Thank you, Cynthia, for sharing. I love it. I feel like I'm a little more centered after this one, despite Spencer and his antics, but we're all good. Thank you very much for being a guest on Own It.
Thank you. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to talk with you all. It's really been fun for me. Thanks.
Awesome. And we'll see you here next time on another episode with another guest. Enjoy your day.